You've just been in Israel, as you mentioned. Israeli citizens must feel that the world expects them to do the right thing, but will never give them a fair hearing, and that they're hated, so they've got no choice at all but to press on. I find it abhorrent that the Jewish people, after everything they suffered in the 20th century, should feel that the rest of the world doesn't understand or care for the way in which they themselves have been victims, frankly. Victims in circumstances that most of us find so disgusting you can hardly even read about them. I've just been reading a detailed account of how Auschwitz actually operated and what it was like. And to have been traumatised as a people in the way that the Jewish people have been, and then to find that the world's forgotten so quickly, must be deeply galling and very troubling.
Well, I can tell you this, from I talk to Israelis across the political spectrum, across the socioeconomic spectrum, from every part of the country. It's a tiny country the size of New Jersey. I mean, at parts it's only barely 10 miles wide, so it's a very, very tiny country. But I didn't get the sense that anyone wants pity. They would just prefer that the world not stop them from protecting themselves, which is a very different thing. I think they're largely past pity. They've lived through suicide bombings, they've lived through stabbing sprees, they've lived through bus bombings and car rammings and just endless terrorism all the time. It's built into their way of life, as is survival. So I don't think they want pity, but they would prefer that the United States or the world at large not actively attack them or diplomatically attack them while they are trying to get their own hostages back. It is my belief, at least, that you as a nation have every right to do everything possible to defend your citizens, and if one of your citizens was kidnapped or taken across enemy lines, to do whatever you can to get them. We used to have something in America called the Powell Doctrine. Of course, it was Colin Powell under George W. Bush, who is our black Secretary of State. I don't care about his skin color, but it's worth noting in a time when everyone's focused on skin. But the whole idea of the Powell Doctrine was you attack with overwhelming force so that your enemy, backs up quickly, retreats quickly, gives up quickly. Israel, oddly, in this situation, has texted people, leave this house, we know Hamas is living downstairs, leave this mosque, they drop leaflets, they do all of these things. And I think many Israelis are kind of coming around to this too, it doesn't buy them any goodness with the world. I think that's perhaps there might be some deep sort of religious historical connections to that. The story of the Jews is a story, it's quite a painful story. So people expect Jews to kind of be killed, and that's expected. You don't really give them much pity for it. And again, I don't think they want pity. But I think that what they're learning right now is they can rely on themselves, they can hope that their allies will be there for them, but they have to do what they have to do, just like any nation would. Any nation, if Australia, you guys are surrounded by water, so it's a little bit different for you guys. But any nation that had in effect a country, an army on the border committed to its destruction, you would take them out before they took you out. You would have to do it. It would be your duty, your responsibility, and I would also argue it would be your God-given right.